Today, we're taking a stroll down memory lane, but with a twist. We're revisiting our top episodes from this year, the ones that made us think, laugh, and maybe even change the way we order our fries. From technology experts to promotional prodigies, we've had a variety of guests sharing their secret sauces for success. We've talked about everything from AI in drive-thrus to the mystique of dynamic pricing. And let's not forget the Halloween episode where we howled at the moon. So buckle up and join us as we count down our top 6 favorite episodes. Here's to another year of laughs, learning, and of course, technology that will help build your business. Let's grow. Welcome to the Restaurant Growth Show podcast, where we talk about how operators can use technology to grow their business. We've got a lot to talk about in this episode, but first, let's introduce our co-host. With more than 25 years of online marketing experience, Jose Albis has successfully founded and operated companies in software and hospitality. Lastly, who am I? My name is Gordon. I am your host. I have over 16 years in the food service industry with more than a decade in technology startups. This podcast is sponsored by Dynpricing, real-time restaurant profitability. Dynpricing uses artificial intelligence to improve profitability for restaurants by dynamically updating menus across digital channels. Jose, what's happening? We're close to the new year. It's Christmas time. What's going on with you?
A lot going on. Definitely busier than I expect every day. Very excited to review some of these moments from around this past year, this last round. How do you say it?
We'll call it season 1. We're wrapping up season 1, and it's just been a real kind of a treat looking back on even the episodes in 2022 and obviously all of the great episodes we've done in 2023. Yeah, and we're here to look back on our favorite 6 in no particular order.
That's right. We'll review them. We'll look for some of these great points, and I know you're going to do a great job editing.
You know, it really does come down to editing these episodes, because sometimes, you know, we ramble, and maybe there are some people who might think I could edit even further some of these ramblings, but
or mine with Spanglish and stuff.
Who's to know? I think that the people enjoy the Spanglish. So without further ado, let's jump into Gordon and Jose's favorite 6 episodes from season 1 of the Restaurant Growth Show podcast, in no particular order, because each of these episodes, each of these guests and topics all have their value. They all have their entertainment value, and they all have different aspects that we really love. So we don't want to alienate any of our guests out there, because we love them all and we wish that they would return. So the first episode we have on our list here is episode 27. And this was a real controversial topic. It was a really interesting point or subject in society, really. And episode 27 is called "The Real Cost of Tipping: DoorDash's Pilot Project and Its Impact on Restaurants." We got into DoorDash's new policy, and we'll get into that a little bit as well. But then on the second half of the show, we went into the societal impacts and the pros and cons of tipping culture in North America. Jose, what was your take on that episode, and why is it one of your favorites?
Well, you know, there's one of my favorite things of doing this, and it's that when we're going through one of these topics and we do the research about it, and then we start talking, in that conversation, there is some magical moments of like eureka moments, or, you know, like, oh my God, this I haven't seen this, or how amazing is that? And for me, the impact in society, the gig economy, all the way to touching legislation, transforming what was like, the gig economy, like it wasn't even paid attention to. And the way of thinking, we touched like in 3 ways of thinking about the tipping culture, or 5. Like it was very rich. And for me, it was a great experience. It was like riding a great roller coaster.
Yeah, it really was. And I could just feel how emotionally I was attached to some of these moments. And we put together a arguments for tipping culture and arguments against tipping culture in North America. And as I was going through, we did the arguments for tipping culture first. And as I was reading them on the episode, I right afterwards, I was like, I don't agree with that. I don't think that this is a real good thing. So one of those points was in the argument for tipping culture was tipping is ingrained in North American culture. Customers often expect to tip for services rendered, and it's socially accepted. It's a socially accepted way to show appreciation for good service. And I do agree with that point, but that's also the status quo. Just because it's socially accepted doesn't mean it should continue, because tipping, as we know, is gotten really out of control, especially in third-party delivery, because your tip is given before you get the service. So your food could show up really late, cold, not show up at all, and you've already tipped. So I don't agree with that. And that was just one example of an argument for tipping culture that I just didn't really agree with, to be honest.
No, and I think that even in that same aspect, we also flipped it on the other side, in that what about the driver that gets no tip and he still has to deliver? Even if he chooses to be late, it's his time that costs, so he most likely will not. But, it is unfair. There is the gas, the effort. Then you can add to that bad instructions, a weird address, right? So we went back and forth between these different aspects that we covered. It was fantastic. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to revisit that topic because it affects everyone in North America. We're all faced with this tipping conundrum, and it especially affects restaurants and third-party platforms. It is a really fascinating cultural topic. So I definitely want to do another episode on tipping, pros and cons, how it affects restaurants, etc. So moving on, our next favorite episode in season 1 was episode 23, and that was how Amazon's antitrust lawsuit may affect restaurants. And really what that was about is the United States versus Amazon in an antitrust lawsuit that is in regards to anti-competitive behavior that Amazon is displaying, or with the actions that they're taking. And so I'll give you an example. So Amazon is deprioritizing product listings on their platform to businesses that are selling those same products on either their website or other platforms at lower prices. And so we can see how that would affect restaurants because of the anti-competitive behavior. They are monopolizing e-commerce. And so the same could be said for, say, a DoorDash or an Uber Eats. The controversy here is price parity, right? So with first-party online ordering, if restaurants, as they should, charge a lower price on their website compared to third party, what's happening, or what is being speculated as to what's happening, is that DoorDash and big third party delivery platforms are deprioritizing or pushing down those restaurants' listings within their marketplace. And that, to me, is absolutely anti-competitive and unethical. I don't know. Jose, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to creating that dependency and then extorting all sorts of demands from whoever's in your environment. It's just like you say, Amazon, for example. So it's like you create an environment where there is such a dependency on you, Amazon doing it from the out in and getting all these markets, sub-markets, merchants in the ecosystem, everybody depending on them because it's so big and it's so complex. Yeah. These third-party companies are very similar, where you have created dependency. Talk about the pandemic and out of it, still there's such a dependency on the amount of transactions that did happen as a marketing channel to get to know your restaurant, that then you can start demanding all these crazy things that make it unfair by simple definition. And I think that even if there are 3 or 4 of these companies, they in each of those it's an environment that is just full of abuses, so to speak. So we spoke about that a lot. And I think it was an episode that was extremely valuable for everyone.
Yeah, I think so too. And I am really, really watching this closely. I haven't heard any updates as of recently in regards to this trial, but we'll definitely keep an eye on the developments, because this really does have a direct impact on big delivery, on those third-party platforms. Because if they're exhibiting similar behavior to what Amazon is doing, and we know Amazon does what Amazon wants to do at this point, we're going to see some real changes in how restaurants are listed and what's going to help them be either prioritized or deprioritized in the future. So we'll definitely be revisiting that in 2024. Okay, next, one of my favorites, obviously one of your favorites as well, episode 17. These were the top 3 technologies restaurants need to grow. And it's kind of it's a little bit incorrect because we both did our top 3, so it's kind of top 6. So that's what we did with the final show this year. We're doing a top 6 because you had your top 3, I had my top 3, but in this episode we're doing our top 6. So your top 3 technologies, do you even remember them, Jose?
First party online ordering.
Yep. Yeah.
Gift and loyalty.
No, loyalty was mine.
Oh, yes. Okay. Dynamic pricing.
Do you want me to give you the answer?
Please go ahead.
I mean, episode 17 was quite a while ago, but I did go through and rewatch this episode. So your top 3 were, number 3 in descending order was SMS messaging. So applications like Twilio, where restaurants can use text messaging marketing to talk to their customers, get reviews, and let them know when their order is ready, right? And your number 2 for you was first-party online ordering, right? So services and solutions like modern online ordering. Tell the people why you love first-party online ordering so much.
Well, because I've always been a proponent that, especially when it comes to marketing, you better own your data, you better have control of the technology, you better be able to control the experience of your clients, and you better learn about it so that you can improve and get them all to come there. Like, it's as close as it is to your own restaurant.
Exactly. It's about controlling that data, and really you can offer better pricing for various reasons, like we talked about earlier. And your number 1, this is kind of funny, me telling you your favorite.
Well, I'm doing a huge effort in trying to remember.
We've covered a lot. So I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Your number 1 technology to help restaurants grow their business was artificial intelligence, right? Like, and to narrow that down a little bit further was ChatGPT.
Yep.
Right. We use this all the time, and it's definitely effective for restaurants to use too.
That's right. Yes, I've transformed some restaurants just with that.
Yes. All right. So my top 3 really quickly were email. Email is just so massive and so underutilized by restaurants. Email marketing platforms like MailChimp. There's a lot of other email marketing providers out there. I like MailChimp. It's widely used, but email marketing is so valuable. The return on investment on a good email marketing platform and consistent communication with your customers, really, really valuable. Number 2 for me was a loyalty program. So if you're not using a loyalty program, one of our favorites that we've worked with in the past, and no, we're not getting paid to say this, is Accrue. Accrue is a really great loyalty program that's going to help drive repeat visits and just, really build up loyalty. And my number 1 technology to help restaurants grow was automated guest feedback services like Ovation. Ovation is a fantastic automated guest feedback platform that sends out text messages and emails asking about how their service was. We've worked with Ovation in the past. Really, really love those guys. They're really tech forward, really, really intelligent, and they just really have their finger on the pulse of restaurants and hospitality altogether.
Yeah, and they're doing really good. I was at Red Robin and they were there already.
You saw them using
stickers, the Ovation stickers there. I was like,
oh, cool.
Went by and I'm like, oh, I've seen that before. Of course, it was Ovation.
And I'd like to give an honorable mention. I have 2 honorable mentions for technologies that, there's a lot. But number 1, QR codes. They've kind of gotten a little bit of a bad rap over the pandemic. People had some difficulty scanning the QR codes at their table. Some people really like having the physical menu and that, but still QR codes are very, very effective in communicating with your guests. And number 2, kiosks. Kiosks are big and they're coming in a major way, especially for quick service restaurants and fast food and fast casual. What do you think of kiosks?
I see a lot of demand. My personal is not that positive in that sense, just because I a little bit of makes
you
me
can't.
feel
You can't shit on my honorable mentions. That's right. I sprung it on you at the last moment. what is your argument against the kiosk?
No, just it makes me feel germophobic, even though I'm right. Just the touching and sharing pieces, like it makes me think it's a big cell phone, and I can't think of, yeah.
Okay, all right.
But that's the only
That's
thing.
valid.
In terms
That's
of
valid.
technology, no.
I'm the same. I don't like touching like surfaces where a lot of people have other touched. Like that's valid. I think the technology is great. I think it's like, for me, it's like the argument against the QR code is that you're looking at a menu on your phone. No matter how big your phone is, it's still tough to see and navigate through a restaurant's menu, right? But the kiosk has got a much bigger interface, and it's easier to see the menu, and it's easier to select or, and navigate through the menu. That, for me, that's a real boon to kiosks as opposed to a tablet or a QR code viewing the menu on your phone. Anyways.
Fair enough. And if you're going to use one, make sure you really have good pictures. It's a really good opportunity for good pictures.
I've got an idea for a new product, though, and that is the kiosk glove, right? So we could sell kiosk gloves to people where they could just, carry it around in their pocket. I'm going to use a kiosk now, and I'll throw on the glove, right? And then,
Okay, talk about that one another time.
All right, moving right along. Number 4 of Jose and Gordon's favorite episodes from season 1. Episode 33, Reducing Costs and Food Waste, with special guest Savannah Seidel. And this is a little bit, I'm not going to say this is recency bias because we just had her on the show, but I'll tell you what, this Savannah was fantastic. We don't do a heck of a lot of environmental, information or environmentally driven programs or technology, but she was the bee's knees. I will tell you what, she was so prepared and so knowledgeable. She was fantastic.
Yeah, that was a torrent of learning for me. Like it was, and so well delivered. It was so good. Loved it.
She was awesome. I'm hoping that she comes back on the show just to keep us updated. So for anyone who hasn't watched that episode, Savannah is the VP of sustainability at a company called Better Earth, and they specialize in compostable packaging for restaurants. And so, there's an enormous need. And I learned more about the circular economy, which was really, really interesting. As farm to table to farm, I believe was the terminology she was using. Really, really fascinating stuff. Good stuff for the environment. We're really environmentally focused here on the west coast of Canada in the Pacific Northwest. Really important stuff for the environment, and it's just I'm watching Better Earth with a keen eye.
Yeah, loved it.
Is that all? That's all you got to say?
All I gotta say.
Speaking of rambling.
No, there was so much that I learned on that one.
Like what? Tell me which.
Well, I knew about the microparticles that are in our bodies. But some of the usage of bamboo, the reinsertion, the composting, for example, for restaurants, which I've always found something fascinating, because I think only once, and it was in Nanaimo, can't remember the name of that pub, but because they're in a huge space, like pretty much a farm, they had like a huge composting thing. It was not common, and the way she answered, it's like, oh no, there's waste, like it should always be done, and we can share how it's done properly, right? Not that it's in front, like in the entrance, all the different pieces that it would make it extremely fascinating to see it more often. And know that all the waste doesn't get wasted, but actually gets used and then brought back to the farm to, it's just fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah, she made me want to go on a microplastic diet. Like these microplastics are living in our body. They're a part of us now. They're in the food that we eat, and it's like I want less plastic in my diet, to be honest with you. So, all right, moving on here. Episode number 2 was just fantastic. Again, no recency bias. We're just getting lucky with these fantastic guests that we've had on. This was Avoiding Content Fails for Restaurant Marketers with special guest Matt Plapp. Matt Plapp is the closest thing to Gary Vaynerchuk of hospitality I've ever seen. he made a quick note about it that he had been compared to Gary Vee, and it stuck with me the whole way. Just listening to him talk, the energy that he had, his angle for marketing, and the strategies that he talks about, really, really great. I agree with 99% of his approach to marketing, especially in hospitality. His energy was fantastic. You could tell that he had a radio background, great radio voice, all around super, super pro, super, super nice guy. Yeah, he was awesome.
Yeah, no, it was, I think that for me, it was like a whole circular experience of going back to the beginning of social media and the things that I may even be forgetting about, about shine the light on others so that you get the reflection. He talked about restaurants to get involved in community, which it was really powerful to see. And it's the main reason why the other episode that it's one of our favorites relates to this, which is go out there, be part of the community, get involved with organizations that participate, sponsor a kid, a student, show it off, like just go celebrate with them, be part of things. One of my favorite things was the comparison about with his wife, right?
What was that? Remind me.
Oh, it was about like that if you were going at your wife all day, check me out, I'm this, check me out that, and they compliment, right?
Yeah, I think that he was talking about the difference between advertising and branding. Exactly. Right, where advertising, he used the analogy of his marriage. Right. And he says, listen, if I go to my wife like, hey, baby, look at me, I had a great day. I did a great job on this. I did a great job on that. He says his relationship, his marriage wouldn't have lasted 30 plus years. Right. And that's the same thing. The point he's trying to make about advertising and branding is advertising. You're always saying, this is my product. This is my service. Look at it, buy it. Right. Me is what he's saying. Whereas branding is positioning. Branding is having a conversation about the things that are going on around you and in your community, especially for restaurants. And he's saying you can't just show pictures of your food every day, all day on social media, which is the best platform to market yourself. So he's talking about going out into the community, talking to locals, talking to stakeholders, your neighbors, what's happening at the event down the road, and just being in the conversation. And it's not always about putting, your food and your services first and foremost every single time. So do check out that episode number 32 with Matt Plapp. Love him. He was fantastic. And moving right along, the number 6 episode that Jose and Gordon loved, our favorite episodes from season 1 was restaurant sponsorship marketing with Brent Barutas. And I miss Brent. If you're listening or you're watching, Brent, I want to apologize because I pronounced your name during the episode. I pronounced his last name. So Brent, I apologize. I'm not going to say what it was that I said, but Brent, you were fantastic. And you've also made it to our favorite episode.
And together with Matt, I think that Brent was like a deep dive into one of the things that Matt actually talked about, which was this sponsorship and participating, and where basically not only you can get sponsorship, but you participate, do the sponsorship, and that will drive the conversation towards you. And I thought that it was rich because there were some things I had never considered about this. One of the things about data, and I remember doing many years ago what today we know like sentiment analysis, but manually. Yeah. So it was a work of 20 people, each with a medium and different groups, and you would take like what page an article was on the newspaper, for example, and where it was positioned, and was the tone, the sentiment, positive, negative towards a positive. Like, it was crazy. Yeah. And now with technology, it happens all the time. So he just brought some of these things to light as well, and some of them are still not that feasible in with technology. Not that easy. Some others, like surveying, super easy, but it was an excellent episode in my opinion. Very valuable. Anyone that watches or listens to it is going to learn something that's going to be helpful for the restaurants.
Yeah, I was really surprised by some of the strategies he was talking about because I've been marketing for a long time and in hospitality, no less. And some of the examples that he was talking about they were really, really surprising and well thought out and really, really effective, especially over the pandemic where restaurants were scrambling to stay afloat. And the partnerships and brand partnerships that he was bringing together with sponsorships for restaurants. Great episode number 24. Please do go check it out. We are running short on time, Jose, but what I wanted to do here is I want to throw a little bit of a curveball in here. Are you aware of the Spotify Wrapped presentation that everybody gets in their Spotify account?
Not until very recent.
Okay, so Spotify, for those who are unaware, and if you're unaware, what are you doing? Spotify is amazing. Spotify provides each of their users with a year-end wrap with full of statistics and really great animations showing you what you listen to, your favorite artists, how much time you spent, what genres, all that kind of thing. And they've done the same thing for podcasters because they made a big push for podcasting over the last couple of years. And so they did that for the Restaurant Growth Show. And so I think it's a really fascinating kind of animation and analytics and insight into our journey throughout season 1, especially through 2023. So we're gonna share the screen for those of you who are only listening. I'm sorry. We'll comment as we'll try and walk you through audibly. Let me just kick this off here 1 sec. Okay, can you see the screen? Are you ready?
Go.
Okay, so here we go. Here's the Restaurant Growth Show wrapped. All right. People were really, really feeling what we were doing, Jose. Are you ready to take it from the top?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me pause it here. So speaking of top, your top episode was lucky number 13. Lucky number 13 was from before we pivoted into our new company, Dynpricing Technologies. We were sponsored by your former company, Modern Online Ordering. And in this episode, which was really great, we actually did a review of a previous show. So it's like the inception of the Restaurant Growth Show. And we took clips from Jay Ashton, right? The restaurant guy. And he had some really great insight for us. So in the episode is called Lucky Number 13. It's obviously episode number 13. We just responded to some of the insight that he was providing because he had some hot takes. He knows what he's talking about and he's been doing it for a very long time. We love Jay. Jay, if you're listening or watching, please come back. All right. Do you remember Lucky Number 30? Do you remember that episode? Awesome. What did you think about that episode?
Oh, I mean, it's number 13. So I as soon as you're mentioning, I'm still trying to have a better memory about it. I do remember the situation like we were transitioning and that we were very excited because it was number 13.
This is true. All right. Yes. Okay. Moving right along here. Okay. It was streamed 78% more than our other episodes. Okay. It was obviously our most popular. How does it feel to have gone global, Jose?
Oh.
We were streamed in 24 countries. United States, shout out to all of our US people. United States, United Kingdom, Australia. Canada's number 4. That's weird because we're in Canada.
Yeah, Mexico.
Shout out to Mexico.
Huevo.
Our listeners do have good taste. Yes. Business, comedy, and sports. Yeah, okay.
Oh, it's like you have a little bit of that each.
All right. Their top genres were pretty predictably. This year you turned your camera on. Yeah, we do video. That's what we do. We made 11 videos in 2023. I feel like, no, we definitely made more than that because we've made more since this Wrapped came out. So are you a gardener? We saw some nice growth. Look at that. 999% growth in streams and followers and listeners. Wow. Okay.
Wow. That's fantastic.
Good. Some nice growth. Can't forget a shout out our biggest fans.
Yes, fans. Here you go.
Thank you. Yes. We are a top 10 podcast for 30 fans.
Nice.
I don't know if that's a really great number or what. But
great to me.
Okay. Top 5 or 21 fan. Okay. What's up? Thank you.
Oh.
We're the number 1 podcast for 4. You know what? That is pretty amazing. I don't even care if it's only 4 people. Thank you so much to those 4 people. What a year.
Nice.
30 fans, top 20. Yeah. Come on now. That's great. That's really, really cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. Amazing. Yeah. Again, Spotify Wrapped is just a really great end of the year kind of phenomenon that Spotify has put together. I love that company. I love their application and what they mean to music and really what they mean to us podcasting. They've done a great job. So, and no, we're not sponsored by them either, although they want to sponsor us. We'll entertain that thought.
That's right.
So that wraps it up for season 1 officially of the Restaurant Growth Show podcast. Jose, my dear friend, my business partner, we've been through a lot, my man. I can't say enough about, what your friendship means to me, and that goes well beyond the podcast and our businesses and everything.
Likewise, I appreciate you being in my life, as it has been a positive cause and reason and engine. So let's do more of this and get more of that.
In 2024, we will determine what this and that is. Yes. To everyone out there who has tuned in to the Restaurant Growth Show podcast, we thank you. We look to deliver more great content, useful content that you can use to help grow your business and bring in as many experts and guests as we possibly can and explore and test and learn more about technologies that are going to help you, because that's what this show is all about, is helping restaurateurs grow their business by leveraging technology, because that's what we want to do. It means a lot to us and you guys mean a lot to us. So thank you so much.
We'll do more of this.
Yes, absolutely. To everyone, have a happy holiday, a wonderful and safe new year, and we will see you next year. We'll see you next year, Jose.
We'll see you next year, Jose.